For this session of PLN 30, we're going to cover how we made the planning module. The elements of that were primarily Google Slides. So today I'm going to be walking you through what you can do with Google Slides to add an engagement feature and just make it more interactive for your students, or how your students can create Google Slides that were like the ones that were in the module. We are going to cover in this video how to format Google Slides, how to insert audio, insert video, publish to web, and then even how we hosted an asynchronous discussion in Google Classroom and some changes we would have made if we would do this in the classroom. I'm going to drop a link to this in the comments of the YouTube video so you can make sure that you can either follow along. We've got great graphics in there, or if you're just interested in going through the slides quick, that resource is below for you. So some things about just creating engaging slides is the visual piece of it is always a great way to hook your students. Slides Go and Slides Carnival are both websites that offer free templates that you can make a copy of and start working on right away. I would highly recommend checking those out. They're just really fun slides, and we were inspired for some of our graphics by these two websites. In the module, when you clicked on a slide, audio would start playing. To create audio, my favorite feature or my favorite way to do it is to create audio in Screencastify. And the cool thing about Screencastify is, yes, you have your video and it can record your screen, but when you're done recording, if you look at that purple circle, it says export audio only. So when you're done making the video, you can just export the audio and then take that audio and add it to your drive. Once you've added it to your drive, on the right-hand side, I'm going to walk you through. You're going to go Insert Audio, find the audio in your drive, and click on it. And then it's going to pop up with some features on the right-hand side. When we were in the module, the audio played automatically. So click that automatic, and then when your students or when you go to the next slide, that audio is going to play right away, which is just an easy feature to add on that helps ensure that your students are hearing those slides and that extra piece that you wanted to say. Some other ways to add audio that are really easy if you're wanting your students to add audio is Vocaroo. Vocaroo is just a website, and it'll let you hit record, and it will record the audio and give you a link. And kids can upload that link anywhere, and they can post it in Google Classroom or on a Padlet, wherever you might want. Just be aware that in Vocaroo, those audio links only save for like 30 to 60 days, but you can download the audio, so be sure to check it out. It is a clickable link there, Vocaroo, so you can go ahead and click on that and it'll take you to the website. The other easy one is a voice memo in your phone. So we've used our phones to just record our voice, and then we can upload it to Google Drive, and you've got the same process as on the slide before after that. If you're using Pear Deck, Pear Deck now has the feature where you can record audio right in the slide and makes it really convenient and easy. So if you open Pear Deck up, you can add that saved audio file right into your Pear Deck. So be sure to check that one out. It will not play automatically for your students like it might if I insert the audio. So just be aware of what you're looking for your students to be able to do. We also had video in the planning module. So you can add YouTube videos, or you can add your own into Google Slides. I went ahead and made a Screencastify, and then I'm going to insert my video into my Google Slide. Here are some couple tips. We like to have the video play automatically. So just like we did with the audio, clicking autoplay when presenting is a great way to get that video to start playing right away when the kids go to that slide. So that's just another feature that's a little tweak to help make it that much more engaging. A little caveat is be sure to check your sharing permissions. Otherwise, your kids might not be able to see the video. So just go into your drive and check and make sure that that link is anyone who is in MISD can see the video. So go to the video, 3 dots, clicking on share and making sure that the sharing permissions are correct. We made a couple of those mistakes when we were first running the planning module, so don't be like us and make sure you check those sharing permissions. That's something you're going to want to show to your students too if they're creating videos, is making sure they change those sharing permissions so that you can see their work. One thing we did is we published the Google Slides to the web so that you didn't see it in like the editable format, but rather you saw it more as a presentation. So if you publish it to the web, you're going to be able to show your students a cleaner version of the Google Slides that feels more like a presentation. And so this GIF will walk you through how to publish it and what that looks like. Here are two resources, whether you want to post it to Google Classroom or post it to Seesaw. Here is what it will look like. If you post your published link to Google Classroom, be sure to add it as a link and not as a Google Drive document. If you add it as a Google Drive document, it's going to be those editable slides, and although they might not be able to type on them, it just won't be that clean version that you're looking for. And the same thing with Seesaw, you're going to want to add it as a multimedia and a link, and then post that presentation there so that they access it with this clean format. And then you'll post a link in there. The next part we did was hosting an asynchronous discussion in Google Classroom, meaning that you guys were commenting to one another while you were working through the modules, because the modules were self-paced, but we still wanted you to have discussion with your peers, even if we weren't all in the same room at the same time. So we liked adding questions and making sure that there was a short answer question. And then that big one is students can reply to each other. That is a big one we wanted to make sure to do so we could create that conversation. I also like to always add an emoji into my question or something there so that they know what type of assignment this is. So if you add an emoji keyboard, check out the Chrome Web Store. That's a great thing to just make your Google Classroom a little bit more visually appealing and organized for your students. In Seesaw, you're going to want to use the blog feature. And this video will walk you through how to add the blog and make sure that you are turning on that students can see each other's work, or you're going to create a class blog and then that students can comment back and forth. For our littles, some of my favorite things that I've seen just to start asynchronous discussion and what that looks like is having them celebrate their birthdays on the class blog. And it was so fun to see this first grade class over here. The kids would comment and leave voice comments to their peers, wishing them a happy birthday. And that's just modeling for them that first piece of how to have an asynchronous discussion. And then you can move on to adding in some content that they might discuss in that class blog. If you want to see more about that, be sure to just watch that video on how you can make sure that your class blog is up and all students can access it. So we made this learning for adults. Here are some things we would change if we were going to run the planning module with students. We definitely had some longer videos. For those videos, there were no formative assessments or check for understandings. So I would have taken the video and added it into an ed puzzle so that there may be some questions that you have to answer along the way. In our district, we do get ed puzzle for the pro version now, so be sure to check that one out. It is a really great tool just to have those check for understandings along the way and allow you to give some feedback to students when they don't understand. If you were going to do this, I might try a pair deck also, so they might type and have some checks along the way. These modules were pretty long, and so there weren't a whole lot of stops. For student learning, I definitely would have added in that pair deck piece so that I could do some feedback and checking for understanding. Class Kick is also a great one if you haven't seen that yet. It allows you to do easy audio feedback for students as they go. But I also would have, instead of running all of this planning module for the length of time that it was, as we were getting some feedback, if I was doing student learning with this, I would have hosted some Google Meet sessions, maybe even just in small groups based on the asynchronous discussions that were being had. Maybe in the norms section, when we found out some information about what people were struggling with or what they wanted to work on, I could create small groups and let people have conversation in those small groups. So I definitely would check out those features if you're wanting to use this with your students. If you have questions, be sure to reach out to your instructional technology coach and they would be happy to help you. And thank you so much for learning with me today.